Hey guys, Blasius here again, and today I am going to be showing you how I maintain and correct a black paint job. So this is actually going to be part one of a two-part series I like to call detailing. I don't know, we'll call it whatever you want. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is showing you guys how to detail. So before we get into any of the products that I use and how I actually use them, so black, of course, as you probably know when you're watching this, is the hardest paint job to maintain if you want it to look good. So with Kitt, that's pretty much the awards that I win. So I mean, I never win the best custom, which you would think that that would be up there with the customs or best modified or whatever. The ones that I do win always have to do with paint. So that's one thing that I actually have control over. When I come into the car shows, I want to just wow everybody with the black paint job, and that's pretty much what happened. So been able to win best paint a couple times. Anyways, so maintaining and correcting a black paint job is actually not as hard as you would think if you have the right products and you know how to use them. So that's what we're going to get to today. So I own 6 black vehicles. I used to have people detail my own cars for me, and I was never happy with the results. So I just took the chance and bought a cheap buffer at the time and tried it myself, and the results were great. And then actually I grew a business out of it. So I actually have a part-time business that I do on the weekends that I call OC Detailing, and I charge for details. It used to start out as like $200 a detail, and then I was booked up and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like crazy. So then I bumped it up to $300 a detail, and I'm still booked up. And now I'm at $500 a detail, and it's steadied itself out to where I can actually maintain it. So there is great money. If you're looking at extra cash, I was able to pretty much build Kitt almost on my second income that I made just from detailing cars. Because lots of people are afraid to do it, and the cool thing about it is that once you market yourself of being like a pro detailer, everybody at car shows, when they see your perfect black paint job, says, I want my job, or I want my paint to look like that. And pretty much any car show I go to, I get a couple clients just from having nice paint on my car. So 2 products that I use, or 2 companies that I use, is Adams and Roops. So I have a buffer from both. So I have the 3410, which is, this thing is a workhorse. Actually, it's the 3401, I'm sorry. So if you're looking up 3410, you won't find it. It's actually 3401. So this is a forced buffer. So basically, a forced rotation means that when you put this on your paint, no matter how hard you press, it's just going to force its way through. So it's an orbital buffer. So basically what that means is I can sit in one spot and I'm not going to burn through the paint because it's not forced rotation. So if you're looking at getting a buffer, you want an orbital buffer. I would say probably at the bare minimum, Harbor Freight has a nice one, or Porter Cable is a nice way to start out. You can get those for like 150 bucks. This Flex is like 350 or 400 or something. But I mean, this thing, I've probably detailed 70 cars with this thing, and it's still top notch. So this is my go-to buffer. The thing I don't like about this buffer is that it's heavy, and then when you put it on the paint, it wants to always drag you with it. So you'll build muscles, not that I have any, but you'll build muscles just by holding this thing, because it takes about 6 hours to correct a car. But this thing is awesome because it is forced rotation. You'll get great results. So my newest buffer is from Roops, and I absolutely love this buffer too, but it does 2 different things. So this one, you can get the whole kit for about 500 bucks. The thing I like about this buffer is that this thing is like driving a Cadillac. It is so smooth, it doesn't vibrate, and it doesn't drag you with it, and it's so much lighter. This is also an orbital buffer, which if you're new to this, you want to stick with orbital buffers. I still think they work the best. But this one is awesome. It is not forced rotation, which basically means you have to make sure that you stay perfectly smooth for the pad to actually orbit. If you hit like a corner, or if you're not perfectly smooth, basically orbital will not do anything. It will just like shake back and forth. So you think you're actually correcting the paint, but it's actually just not really doing anything, it's just vibrating back and forth. But if you get this thing perfectly smooth and really work on your technique, this thing I feel like corrects just as good as this, and it's so much smoother. Oh my goodness. So those are the two buffers I use. Like I said, this one's about 500, this one's about 400. Nice thing about like the 550 or whatever, it comes with the products you need to, which is awesome. So Adams, this is what I used to start out with. So Adams has 3 different compounds to use in their series of stuff. So you have the heavy correcting compound, which you match up with the heavy correcting pad. Nice thing about it, they color coordinate their compounds with their pads. So if you have like deep scratches and stuff that you could actually like feel with your fingernail, this is the stuff that you want to use. Most of the time I use just your correcting polish, which, look at this, it matches the correcting pad color. So this is going to be the stuff primarily if you don't have like really heavy scratches, if you just have like swirling and holograms that you want to get rid of, this is the stuff that you want to use. And then lastly, I use the finishing polish with, you guessed it, the white finishing pad. So this gives you that mirror finish. So sometimes, especially on black paint, if you have swirls and stuff, you'll use this, you'll buff it, whatever, and then you'll get all the swirls out and it looks like great under like shade or in your garage, like, oh my goodness, this looks great. And then when you pull it out into the sun, you'll see like a little bit of haze. You won't see scratches, but you'll see like a little bit of haze. Basically, this is like a little rougher compound so that it's taking the scratches away, but it's actually leaving a little bit of haze that's left with this rougher pad. It's almost like a sandpaperish type pad. Now after you get that haze and you get your scratches removed, then you're going to want to use a finishing polish, and that takes all of the haze away and gives you a mirror finish, which is, I love Adams stuff. So those are the 3 pads that you'll use. You'll probably use like 2 pads per car. So then when you go over to the Roops, it's going to be the same type of thing. Hold on one second. Roops has a 4-pad solution. So same thing. This is going to be like almost sand marks. Like I can actually take sand marks out of paint using the green one. Then you step down to the yellow pad to get rid of the swirls that you left with the green pad, and then you use the white pad to actually get rid of the haze that you left with the yellow pad. And then same thing with theirs is that they have their own polish that matches the color of the pads. So I've been super happy. I've been using this for like the last 6 months and I can't rave anymore about it. So when you're doing black paint, the first thing that you'll want to do is get a clay bar. So basically what a clay bar does is it gets rid of all the contamination, and like if you have like a white car, you ever see like those little, I don't know, like little rust specks? So basically what you would use is like a detailing spray, which is basically like like McGuire's has it. It's basically like just a polish spray. You'd spray it on it, then you would use your clay bar and actually rub it all over the car, and that actually picks out all that stuff. Because sometimes when you like touch your car and it feels like sandpaper, even though you've waxed it and done everything else, it's actually contamination that's into the clear coat. That clay bar just wipes it away and gets you a smooth surface so that you can actually start using the compounds. So after I do a paint correction, then I apply a wax. So this is the wax that I use. I use Adams Patriot wax. It's like $100, but this stuff, you can go back and forth. I mean, you can get great results with $10 products, or you can get great results, of course, with $100 products. What I noticed with like the $100 products, it's so easy to apply, and you literally just take a microfiber cloth, wipe it off, and it's done. So to me, the time wasted on applying wax and then having to like really take your time trying to get the stuff off, I'd rather spend the $100 and one wipe to get it off, and that's it. So big fan of this Patriot wax. So another question I had too is, what kind of paint do I have on my car? I use single stage. There was 2 reasons behind using single stage when I wanted to get my car painted. So single stage is actually what's correct to use on Knight Rider Kitt replica. It's what they had back in '82, so actually the real Kitt car was single stage. A lot of people's like, but the single stage doesn't hold up nearly as much as like base clear, so you basically lay your base coat and then you put clear coat over it. It doesn't, but if you keep up on it, I mean, it's as strong as clear coat, in my opinion. But if you're going to be driving your car all the time, bird droppings, you just abuse the paint, base clear is probably your best way to go. Another reason why I use single stage is that there's a lot of going back and forth on this, but I 100% believe you cannot get a deeper black than you can with single stage. So single stage, what I do like about single stage, so you know, like when you wash your car and you dry and you see like little swirl marks, which we're actually removing by using these products. Those swirl marks are actually in the clear, because clear is clear, but when it scratches white. So you see swirl marks and all that stuff on clear coat. Single stage, you don't see it nearly as bad because there's no clear coat on it. So when single stage paint actually gets scratched, it gets scratched black. So you can see how if you have clear coat, that scratches white on black, you see the swirls like crazy. On single stage, with that scratches, you scratch it black and you have to almost like look in the right light to actually see that scratch. So I'm 100% fan of a car that you don't drive much being painted single stage. Now, of course, my daily driver, I would never have single stage because it would just be impossible to keep up on it. Alright, so the next video, now that I showed you guys what products I use, I'm actually going to show you how I use the products on my car. I have a car show in 2 weeks in Cleveland, Ohio, so if you're a fan and you want to come to Cleveland, Ohio, I'll be there all weekend. But I'm going to be detailing Kitt because it's got some marks on the paint from doing a bunch of shows. When you have car shows, or when you go to car shows and you have a Knight Rider replica, everybody and their brother wants to touch it. I even rope it off, but little kids and everybody still touches it, so there's swirl marks and there's little scratches that I'm going to need to correct before this big car show. So I'm actually going to be using these products that I showed right here. So do some research. Now that I showed you, you can go to adams.com or adamspolishes.com, see their product line. You can get into the compounds. You'd probably be about $60 in compounds, maybe $40 in pads, so about $100. And if you get like a decent buffer, you'll probably be in about another $150. So you could be in completely all for under $300 and be able to maintain your car for the rest of your life, which is great. Or if you want to start a side business like I did, you can make some killer money and have a bunch of extra spending money to buy other things with. So hopefully this video helped you. I'm just breaking it into 2 sessions just because this would be a very long video, because the next thing when I'm actually putting products on the car, there's a lot of techniques that you need to watch out for. But don't be afraid to buff your car. It's with the products and the pads and the buffers that they have now, it's, to me, literally impossible to screw up your paint. And it's impossible to get swirl marks. I mean, watch the next video and I'll show you guys how to actually remove scratches and stuff on your paint. So, once again, this is Chris. Be on the lookout. I'm probably detailing Kitt next weekend, so the video will probably be up in about a week. So, hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully you guys can get something out of this, and we'll catch you next week.